What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for January 24th, 2023. It's Tuesday, so it's time for your weekly dose of motivation. This week, I've been on my workouts. I've been really trying the past, even before New Year's, really trying to get back on track. I mentioned before I want to lose 45 pounds by the time I turn 45. Basically, counteract the weight I put on during since COVID started. But one thing I like to do on my walks and runs is listening to audiobooks. So I don't really necessarily have time to read, and I rather put a lot of my efforts and energy into just preparing for both this and Back to the Future and hanging out with the kids. Like, we had some pretty serious games of Uno. So to find time to read books, it's very hard right now. So I get up every morning, 4:30, do some type of walk/run, throw on an audiobook and go. So I've been listening recently to David Goggins' new book, Never Finished. And if you read Can't Hurt Me, you know this dude's a beast. And there's a lot of things in there that really changed how I looked at things and just approached different things. And to be completely honest, a lot of things in that book is what really helped motivate me and get me started to finally stop talking about doing the podcast and start recording. So, but I'm listening to Never Finished, and one thing that struck me last week, and I jotted it down because I wanted to share it, but he was talking about just one of his races or something, and he just said there's a big difference between 99 and 100%, and that just really stuck out to me. Because, and I'm sure many of us are there, there are a lot of times where we put a lot of effort into things, but are we truly giving 100% effort? And it could be anything. And I think that's part of why I do some of the audiobooks, because it's helping me be more 100% invested in doing stuff with the kids and things like that. So, but just something to think about. Like, there's a big difference between 99 and 100%. And just as you go through your week this week, just truly think, are you giving 100% to anything, whether it's your job, your hobby, working out, your family? And like I said, like, it really has changed the way I've approached this week and everything. So there's your Tuesday motivation for you. Take it or leave it. But I highly recommend checking out either one of or both of David Goggins' book. The dude's an animal, and it has really changed just the way I approach a lot of things in life. There's definitely a lot of things going on right now that I'm not 100% happy or on board with, both at work and personally. And it's just kind of one of those things that kind of help compartmentalize that and really helping me give that 100% when I don't always feel like it. So there you go. That's Tuesday. Quick Eagles update. Spread is still 2.5. But I wanted to, and speaking of giving 100%, a lot of these national pundits are really doubling down and giving 100% of this hate on the Eagles. All last week, all we heard was, oh, the Giants, look out for the Giants. They have the momentum. They're going to upset the Eagles. Look out. The Eagles are in trouble. Look out. And what did the Eagles do? They came out, and one of the things I heard was, oh, well, we haven't really seen the real Eagles since the last time they beat the Giants, and the Giants are a different team. They have these guys on defense coming back, blah, 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 blah. Well, the Eagles came out and picked up right where they left off at the end of that Giants game. They dominated that team. They imposed their will, and everybody's like, oh, well, Jalen Hurts only threw 100. He didn't have to. They ran the ball down their throats, and that's when the Eagles have been great this year, is when they're doing whatever they want. So they're taking what the defense gives them. If they're going to give them 230, 240 rushing yards, they're going to take it. If they're going to clog up the rushing lanes and make Jalen pass, Jalen's going to throw for 350 yards. That's the way they've been all year. But the pundits now, those same ones that said the Eagles are in trouble, are doubling down and saying, well, the 49ers win was way more impressive because they beat the Cowboys, and the Giants are just not a good football team. But you were, just last week, you said the Eagles were in trouble. And the only one I will give him credit that came back and retracted and said I was wrong was Peter Schrager on the NFL Network. But everybody else, like, come on. And it's fine. it's just laughable to me that even though the Cowboys lost, they're still getting the love. Oh, that was a much better win. And I'll be completely honest with you, and this is no knock against the 49ers. Neither one of those teams looked very good on Sunday night. And I think, to be completely honest, Dallas should have won that game. I mean, it's still early. Injury reports and things didn't come out, but I don't know. Like, I'm not saying a blowout at all, but like I feel more comfortable right now. And I know this is crazy to say, and it's only Tuesday, but I feel more comfortable at this point in the week against the 49ers than I did against the Giants. So as the week goes on, we'll get more into that. But it's just funny to me that last week, oh, the Eagles are in trouble, they're going to lose. And now it's, oh, well, the Giants were a terrible team. But whatever. All right, this day in Philly sports history, January 24th, we're going to go back to 1988. And on this day, it was a Saturday, the number 3 Temple Owls took on the number 8 UNLV Runnin Rebels out in the Thomas and Mack Center in Vegas. And UNLV came in 14-1. Temple was undefeated. And Temple led most of the way. And basically with like 2 minutes left, I think it was, or just under 2 minutes, there was like kind of a questionable call that basically Mark Macon was dribbling up the sideline on the UNLV right in front of their bench. Somebody knocked the ball out. Apparently, Macon says that the guy on UNLV somebody on their bench knocked it back in, and it should have been out of bounds, but it looked, because of the way it was angled, it looked like it was a steal. And that all of a sudden kind of led the way then for basically UNLV to hit a shot with like 2 seconds left to beat them. Excuse me. And just give them their first loss of the season. So Temple, after this, was 14-1. They lost 59-58, and it was a good game. And Temple led most of the way. And it was also the second time that UNLV beat Temple in 2 years in the last second. And this was probably one of John Chaney's best teams. So Mark Macon had 19. Howie Evans had 11 points, 7 assists. It was a kind of a defensive struggle, kind of one of those ugly, typical John Chaney games where it's just ugly and he slows down the pace. But Temple lost. It was their first loss of the season, 14-1. They would go on to win 17 more in a row. They would go into the tournament as the number 1 seed. They were the number 1 ranked team in the country. Go all the way to lose to Duke in the Elite 8. And it wasn't the first time, or this was the first time John Chaney got to the Elite 8. It was not the last time he would lose to Duke in the Elite 8. But not a bad season for Temple. Very, very disappointing. Probably up there as one of John Chaney's best. A lot of people will say this was John Chaney's best chance to finally get to a Final Four. I know the 99-2000 team also had a very, very good chance of getting there when they were the number 2 seed, when they lost against Seton Hall. But this team was stacked. There was 4 guys that played in the NBA: Macon, Tim Perry, who ironically played for the Sixers, Ramon Rivas, and Dwayne Caldwell. But unfortunately, on this day, the Temple Owls fell to the UNLV Runnin Rebels 59-58 to suffer their first loss of the season. But they would go on, like I said, 17 in a row, roll through A-10 play, and be the number 1 overall team heading into the NCAA Tournament. So if you like about John Chaney and want to hear more, Thursday I'm recording the new episode of Back to the Future. We're going to be talking about the life and career of John Chaney, somebody who's a very pivotal person in my life, one of my all-time favorite people to ever meet. So stay tuned for that. Go Birds. We're going to have more on the NFC Championship game as the week goes on. Remember, there is a big difference between 99 and 100%. Are you going to give 100% this week? Go have yourselves a Tuesday. Let's go capture the week, seize the day. And until next time, I will see you when I see you.